We are in the book of Samuel, and so please subscribe to this channel, give it a thumbs up, hit the notification so you know when we're going to give a new class. And we're now going to deal with, remember what was happening was Saul sent for David, and Michal told David, run away, my father wants to kill you, so run away, fine. So she lowers him through the window, and she sets up in the bed a mannequin, or whatever you want to call this, teraphim. It puts some hair on the mannequin's head, and then covers it with a blanket. When the people come, when the messengers come, the king's messengers come and say, we want to see David, she says, I'm sorry, he's sick right now. Oh, okay. So then they go back to Saul, say David was sick. So Saul's response is, if he's sick, bring him in his bed. Otherwise he's in rebellion, and kill him where he stands. That's what he's really going for. So kill him. So what happens is they go back, and that's 16. And so the malachim came, teraphim alamita, and behold, the teraphim were on the bed. And the covering, the goat's hair covering, was the wig. The wig was on the teraphim's head. Okay, and so so Rashi says, why do they have to put the skavir izim? Because she'ein lehem teraphim seir. Because teraphim don't have hair. Okay, mannequins don't have hair. That's why you can put it on. And Zedomah says Adam, and apparently goat hair is similar to human hair.
I mean, you think at the top of the person's head.
Right. So that's what you're saying. Fine. So that'd be Rashi's explanation for what's going on there.
Isn't that also for?
Say again, please.
For Esau and Yitzchak, when Miriam put the goat hair, Rachel put the goat hair on Yitzchak to make him feel like Esau's hands.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean on the arms. Right. When Rivka put. Right, when Rivka, when Rivka put goat hair on Yaakov's hands, so he should feel like Esav, because Esav was hairy, right? Same sort of thing, but there was here. But here, here's my Boston accent. Here we're saying the hair was on the head. Okay, here in this particular place, we're saying that the hair. I guess I would say it here if I want to. Hair. But in Boston you say here, and here. That's all the same. Mm-hmm. So everything is the same.
Sure, because the R comes at the end.
Right. Well, no. Well, and actually in Boston you say here. Yeah. You wouldn't say. You would skip the R. It's very hard for me to do it because I'm not. Yeah. A haircut. No, that's because the R is in the middle of the word.
Connects. Right.
So that's a haircut. Nobody says haircut. I don't think maybe a real staunch Bostonian would say haircut. I don't know. But I think that's the rule is if it's in the middle of the word you can say it, but if it's not, I think that's how it would probably cut.
Yeah, I used to hear people say chop liver.
Chop liver. Yeah, because that's at the end. Right. Okay, Bostonian 101. Okay, different language. So anyway, the point is that the hair on top of the head is not normal for the teraphim. Unlike and why they have to put it there, because you cover up the teraph, whatever the teraphim look like. Again, it's big enough, I guess, so that it would. And so you want to put hair on that, so that when they would see it from a distance, they would imagine it's a person, because it looks like human hair. That's what she wants. Or that's what they want to say. Okay. So then, good. Let's go on. So what happens? So Shaul says to Michal, Lama kacha rimitani, why did you trick me like this? Actually, kacha, why did you trick me like this? Or so, and you sent forth my enemy, and he was rescued or saved. Michal el Shaul, and so Michal says to Shaul, Hu amar Eli shalchini lama amitech. She answered her father. He said to me, send me. Why should I die for you? Now that's interesting. That she was the one who told David to flee, right? And when Shaul is coming to Michal, his daughter, saying, "Why did you send forth my enemy?" She blames on her husband. She said, "Well, he told me to send. Why should I die on your account?" Is that how they say it in English?
It says, "Let me go, or I will kill you."
Or I will kill. Oh, okay, fine. I'm sorry.
He said,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Why should? Well, why?
Why should I put you to?
Why should I put you to death then?
Yeah.
Okay.
She said to. So he said to me, "Let me go. Why should I put you to
Okay,
death?"
right. Okay, I'm sorry.
Is that what it says?
All right. Yeah. Good.
You
Good.
know how the baker in Fiddler on the Roof says, if you had a bad week, why should I suffer?
Okay. There you go. There you go. Okay. So it says, "Lama kachmi tanshu." So Shaul says to Michal, "You're right. I've translated that wrong. That was my bad, as he would say." Okay. So he goes back and explains, "You sent forth my enemy, and you said he was sick. So in order that he would be, that he could flee, he would be saved, and so on and so forth. Lama harbita remote oti kachach. Why do you trick me so much? In other words, why do you waste so much of my time, basically?" So he says, "Hu mar elai." So he said to me, "Lo ma'atzmi shlachtiv." I didn't send him on my own. Ki hu amar elai shalchini, ulama amitech ba'avorzeh. So he said to me, "Send me forth. Why should I have to kill you because of this?" Vahiti, and I was imkain. Wrote from Acharav. I'm sorry. I'm reading the wrong thing. That's what happened. That's not the Imkain Anusa. That's Mr. David I'm quoting. I'm sorry. Imkain Anusa Badavra. I was an ones in this manner. I was forced in this manner. Kadei Shalo Yechava Lacha, and in order that you, Dad, would not be angry with me, I said he was sick. Lahastir Davar, to hide the matter. V'harich Hazaman to Nu Chachama. And then, in the length of time, the anger would go away. Fine. So she's giving a whole a whole story to say to him, "Dad," even though, again, it's not true what she's saying, but she has to push it up. She said, "The reason I wasted your time was because he threatened me. I didn't want to get you angry. I didn't want him to be angry. I didn't want to get killed, and so on and so forth. So I played the game, and I sent him forth, and that's it. Okay, and so I gave him time to run, and I'm hoping that everybody's anger would subside." Very fine. Now the Malbim says like this: Lama kacha sha'alut tishtelo. He asked her two things. Shaul asked her two things. This is how the Malbim is looking at it. One, al sheshachot ba'arach alone. One is that she sent him through the window of Yalzet to Chalihin Atzel Shabarach Me'etzmo, and through this he could have saved himself. She enabled him to save himself because he was fleeing. So that number two was Sha'al Lama Chacham Ritani. Why did you trick me? Ba'trafim with these trafim. Sha'al Yedei Kain Ahaya Lo Eit Lihitrachek. Because through those terafim, he also had time to distance himself. Umizet noda bi, and so on. And as a result of this, it was informed to me that you sent forth my enemy, Barach alone, via the window, v'al yedei shemratani betrafim, and via or through you, Sharamtani, on you tricking me with these trafim, v'yimaleit, and so he saved himself. Tomer, so she said, Hu amar elai, Rosh Amra, Shabarach me'atzmo. I didn't let him go through the window, he ran himself. Barach me'atzmo. V'utzivala, and he said to me, Shalchini, send me, why should I kill you? So that's why you have to make an excuse, a story up from deceit with these terafim. Sha'ayadei Cain, and through this, Shalcheni bal yirdefu acharayim, you will send me, and they will not be pursuing me. V'im lo ta'aseh zot, and if you don't do this trickery, so zot amiteich le'ev matzo, I will kill you when the time comes. V'areiti L'shano pikudoto, and I was afraid of to go against his orders. So she's giving a story. Again, the Malbim is really filling in the blanks here to say what the story was. That really he said that he'll kill me one day. I mean, if I don't get to today, I'll get to tomorrow. No big deal. But it's interesting. She's making him sound like a mass murderer here. The Malbim is. I'm sorry. The Malbim is making him sound like, I'll get you. Don't worry. I'm going to escape. I know what's going to happen, and I'll have to kill you.
It's also giving Saul another reason to pursue David, because David now thinks that he's going to come back and kill Michal.
Well, that would be a reason not to pursue David, because if you pursue him, he's going to threaten your daughter. So there would be a way to say, okay, get out of just leave. It would work the opposite way. Why would I? It's not enough that I don't like because you're trying to take my kingdom right now. But the fact of the matter is, you're going to if you threaten my daughter, so I want to keep you far, far away, because otherwise I'm chancing losing my daughter. So I rather.
Would it have given him a greater incentive to find him?
I don't think it would have. I think it would have worked. Logically, it would have worked against him. Logically, it would have worked for David. Remember, David's not saying it. His wife is saying it. So I think that she's she's trying to play on her father's emotions. If I have to read the story like that, it seems that she's trying to play the father's emotions, saying, he said he's going to kill me, Dad. Let him go. Let him go. Don't worry about it. It's done.
He's been in melancholy for some time now. So
Yeah, a little bit.
you're not exactly dealing with the same mind anymore.
You know that, and again, we know that because we know the storyline, but there's no guarantee the kids don't. There's no guarantee the kids know this. They just know that the father is turned against their, in this place, her husband and her brother-in-law, whatever the case is going to be. But they don't really understand why. And by the way, let's face it, anybody who's dealt with anybody with Alzheimer's, okay, or
Bipolar.
No, not even. Okay, even bipolar. We always assume that you're going to get better, or
Even alcoholism is the same thing.
but these alcoholism, you see this as a drink. Drink is the controlling factor. What I'm saying is, I know that when my aunt developed her, it was called dementia.
Yeah.
Dementia. It wasn't Alzheimer's, so it was dementia. My mother, they were only 4 years apart, so my mother would say to her, "Stop it!" That was it. My mother, because she couldn't get it. She couldn't get it.
They did the same thing on All in the Family when Edith went through the change. Archie said, "You want to change?
Change now." Right. So that's the thing. You don't want to believe that the person is sick. You want to believe that the person's the same. So okay, you go through moods. Deal with the moods.
Yeah, they're just acting up.
Okay, so you had a mood. I'm sorry to hear you had a mood. I'm sorry you're not feeling well. Get better.
Quickly.
Right? And I yelled at you, so get over with it. Wake up. Be strong. Do your exercise. Do what you have to do. Do puzzles. That's true. I mean, let's play Scrabble, because that's what they used to do. They used to play Scrabble. My aunt, to the last days, by the way, with all her dementia, she got good scores. She got good scores.
In English or Yiddish Scrabble?
English.
Yiddish would be fun. That would be fun.
English. They would get like 200s, 300s. I could get 150 and I'm happy. They would play.
Does Yiddish have long words like German?
Yes, yeah, but it's all in Hebrew letters. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go on. But that's the storyline. Okay, so now what happens is, David barach, fine. So now David fled via Malate, and he again was saved, rescued. How they translate that? Save or rescued?
Escaped.
Escaped.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
save or rescued. Fine. Whatever the
It says
case.
fled and escaped.
Huh?
It says fled and
Okay, there you go. Okay. The point is he's saving himself.
Yeah.
V'yavo el Shmuel haramata, and he came to Shmuel at Ramah. Ramah, by the way, Ramata, for those who know the grammar.
Yeah.
The commentary at the end takes place of the Lamed.
Why?
No, it's Haramata. He went to Ramah. Really, he just went to Ramah. That's where Shmuel was, right? That's how they're translating. They're not saying Shmuel to Ramatite.
He came to Shmuel to Ramah.
To Ramah. Good. Good. Right. So now the commentary at the end, the last two, that is taking place of the Lamed. That would be at the beginning. In other words, you would really want to say La Ramah.
Oh,
That's what you really want to say.
Yeah.
So Haramata. So they came towards. He came to Shmuel toward Ramah or in Ramah. So that's to Ramah. So that's it's just an interesting. I'm just pointing out for the grammar. V'yagid lo, and he told him, all the Shaul had done to him. V'yelechu Shmuel v'yeshu benayot. So Shmuel and he went, and they dwelt in Nayut. Apparently, this Nayut is a name place, I'm guessing. Babayit Upana, and Rashi says, in a house of learning. Again, I don't know how people are translating it, but that's how Rashi is saying it.
In Naioth, Naioth.
All right, so they're saying Rashi is saying it's in a house, a place of schooling.
Yeah.
Now, what's interesting there also is he tells them, and again, if you look at the verbs, he told them all that happened. Vayelech hu u'Shmuel. He went and Shmuel. So it's not Vayelchu. You would have thought that it should say Vayelchu. They went, he and Shmuel. Right?
It does.
No. In Hebrew, I'm saying. In Hebrew, it's Vayelech, and he went.
Which he?
David. And Shmuel. But it really should be saying Vayelchu. They went. So the question would be, why is it Vayelech?
They go together or one after the other?
No, they went together. But I'm pointing out in Hebrew.
Where's Vayelech at?
And if you look at Yud Chet, it says Vayelechu Ushmuel. You don't have it?
Oh yeah.
Okay, it should say Vayelchu. They went.
Okay.
The question is, why does it say Vayelech? Okay, and the normal reason for that, because I don't think anybody's really going to say anything about it, it's just a normal thing, is that David is the main character there, and that's why it's saying they went. In other words, because of him, Shmuel is going. So it's really Vayelech. David is one who's making the move here, and Shmuel is following. But then it goes plural, Vayesh benayot. But they both dwelt.
Yeah.
They both dwelt, so that's plural in
say.
Nayot. Okay.
Yeah.
How did David know where to find Samuel?
Because he lived in Ramah. He went to his house. It's like, how do you know how to find me? You can either find me in two places. Right, either here or my house. Mostly here. I live more here than my house. Okay. That's my wife. She'll tell you every
2 o'clock in the
time.
morning and knock on your house.
2 o'clock in the morning, don't look anywhere. Don't look me at 2 o'clock in the morning. I don't want to hear it.
These people pack off a light, apparently. They're forever moving around, and they don't take much with them.
Well, he's on the run.
Yeah, I know that.
When you're on the run, think about Thelma and Louise. They just have the car and just drive. You don't do anything. Yeah, when you're on the run, you don't start packing heavy.
But David sold his house. Yeah, they don't do that.
Say it again?
I said, so David sold his house, put it on the money. No, they don't.
Right,
do that.
correct. He ran. He didn't. He let the house go.
Yeah.
So okay.
Out the window.
Out the window. He ran out like everybody else. So Yud Chet. So Malbim says, David Baruch Himalay. So David ran. He was escaped. He said, fine. Through these methods that Michal made her father wait. He had plenty of time. David had plenty of time to run. Nimlein B'Kamri, so he totally escaped. Amar v'David Nasvi Malay. So according to in Parak Yud, he's going to say David ran and he escaped. Rachel more mi Beit Shaul. There you want to say from the house of Shaul. Parak Yud Beit. But when it came to in chapter 10 it says he ran and he escaped. Here in chapter 12. In chapter 12 it says, he went, he fled, and he escaped. And you, Steve, wanted to say that the reason he had to walk, run, and escape was because he would have run right away, so people would have known he was trying to escape. So here he walked out, went down his window, but then walked leisurely, and then, so nobody should know anything. Then he picked up his speed, and he went. That was your explanation. I like it. See, I remember what you say. But that was,
I'm not sure I said it.
you did. You did. You were sitting right there and you said it.
This is verse 12?
No, chapter 12. In chapter 12, we were talking about that. Apparently in chapter 19, I'm not sure why. No, so it must be 12, yeah. So, yeah, it's right here. It's you're right. Right. So, so verse 10, it says that he fled, right? It says he fled and he escaped in the night.
Who's 10? Which 10?
Verse 10. Verse 10. It says when he was running from Saul the first time, Saul wanted to kill him. Right, so that's when it says he fled and he ran.
He slipped away.
He fled and he escaped. Then it says in 12 that he walked, he fled, and he escaped. So they want to draw the distinction here. Okay? Rosh Shlomo Miyada Shomrim wants to say that was immediately from the guards of Po. And here, Amar v'nimleit lekamri, here where he escaped totally. So yesh hevdil ben nisol uvricha. So the Malbim tells us that there is a difference between the words nisa and bricha, which we translate in both of them as fled. Both words have meaning fled. Bericho and nas means to flee, ubarech means to flee or to escape. Well, no, oh, so he says there's a difference. He says nes. Here's the difference. The first word nes, which means im rod from macharab. That's when other people are chasing him. Oh, hasakana karova, or the danger is close to him. Zehaya bioto esel Shaul. That's the case when they were near Shaul. But when the danger is not so great, that's when we call it vayivrach. So when it's nes, it means I have an immediate danger. Is that imminent? Imminent is immediate?
Yeah.
Okay. So if I have imminent danger, that's when I use the word nes, and I'm running. That's automatic. When I have time, when it's not immediate, it's not the great sakana, then I use vayivrach. Again, in English, I'm going to translate it the same way twice. But in Hebrew, there's a difference.
And can you say, does it matter in which, if those words both mean the same in their original language, why are they listed in the order they are?
No, but they don't mean the same. There's a nuance here. Nes means
Right,
it's
given what the difference is,
right.
Do you think they're listed in the right order?
Yeah, because what it says is here in Yud, in verse 10, David Nas, he fled and he escaped that night because he threw a stone the spear at him. There was imminent danger. When it comes to this one, Vayelech Vayivrach, he walked and he fled. So what's going on there? Because it wasn't imminent danger. He had time. So it wasn't immediate. So it's not Vayanas. It's not he's fleeing. That's the difference.
The guards were just waiting on his
The guards were waiting outside. They didn't know he was there. See, he's walking. Like they said, you had a good thing. He's walking because he doesn't want to bring attention to himself. It's not imminent danger. It could be danger. But then when he gets to another point, so now he's fleeing. And then he's going to escape.
Yeah, the first one was nonchalant, I remember saying. The second one wasn't so nonchalant anymore.
When he goes out of the window, that's nonchalant.
Yeah.
When he's in front of the king and the king is throwing his spear, it's not nonchalant. Then he has to run. But that's the difference. So again, in Hebrew, there's a nuance for the word nes and barach. Again, in English, it's going to be fled. It's going to be the same thing. But there is a difference in Hebrew, and that's what the Malbim is bringing out here. Okay.
The second one there is a nifel. And so, even though they both mean escaped, it's more the fact that you saved yourself.
Okay.
That there's, you run first, and then after you get down the street, then...
Well, you walked. You walked first.
You walked, but...
Then you ran.
You walk, you run, and then, you've escaped, but it's that you saved yourself. You got away with it.
Which one you want to say is nifal?
The malat.
Vayimalet?
Vayimalet.
That would be Peel, no? I'm not sure.
It's the future of the nifel.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
Forget it already.
I looked it up.
Thank you. I'll take your word for it.
PL
I think you heard
The
that.
PL also means to save,
Right.
but it doesn't have the reflexive idea.
Okay.
You know, to save
Saves
yourself.
himself. Okay. Yeah, okay. I hear.
We're
Yeah,
gonna go
Nimlat.
back
Okay.
to Vayelech.
Yeah.
And so you said because David was the main thrust of that verb, and it's I was thinking about this word Vayelehu, and he went
Right.
and he went, and oh by the way, Ushmuel.
Right.
Yeah, and so that in other words, so
Yeah, you
that's
could
why
say that.
that's
Right.
sing. Is that would that hold true in modern Hebrew? Would you speak like that? Do you know? Just
I don't think we would. I don't think
You
we
would
would.
use the u.
Vayelchu, vayelchu.
Really interesting.
I believe so.
Interesting.
I
So
believe
this
so.
is trying to emphasize something, or it's just what? Just,
Well, again, whatever in the Torah, in biblical language,
yeah.
you're always, whenever there's a question on tense, not tense, person. Thank you. Whenever there's a question on person, when it should be plural, yet it goes individual, singular. So the pat answer is that we're dealing with the main character who's bringing everybody else
So it's
along
trying-
with him.
okay, yeah.
That's the pat answer.
Okay.
So does that come into modern Hebrew? I don't think that's stylistic.
It would be more casual conversation, so you'd use Vayelchu.
Right, and on top of that, by the way,
Interesting.
Vayelech, don't forget, Vayelech means they went, he went,
Yeah.
because of the Vav conversive.
Right,
They don't
yeah.
have that in modern Hebrew.
Oh, that's right too.
So they will only have
yeah.
halach. They would have halach or halchu.
Okay.
So
okay.
they, I don't think anybody would say halach who
Ushmuel.
Ushmael. I don't think they would say that.
Interesting. Okay. So that's making more sense now. All right. So this is right.
Are you trying to talk about the difference? One is running for his life and the other
No, he was asking on,
Back to the other
in
subject.
this verse, it says,
verse.
the verse that we're just on,
Yeah.
where it says, 23, where it says,
Well, we're there already?
No, not 20.
where am I?
18.
18.
18.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all right, we got two verbs in there, yeah.
Yeah.
18.
It's his word.
Yeah, I'm sorry, 18.
And he
So it
and
says,
Samuel.
and it
went.
says, again, you have to look at the Hebrew grammar.
Yeah.
It says, Vayelech hu u'Shmuel. He went and Shmuel. The question is, why doesn't it say they went?
Yeah,
He and Shmuel. Okay, so that would be, that's what he's
I have
asking.
a big problem with that because one is running for his life, the other one is simply a
No. There's no more. He's already escaped.
Yeah, I know, but the
Now he's
there's
relaxed.
still motivational difference.
Now he's relaxed. So now it's Vayelech. He's walking. He's no longer running here. David and Shmuel are walking together. They're holding hands in hands and they're walking to the sunset.
It's funny,
They're just walking, and they're
Holding the cane.
what?
Which one's holding the cane?
Shmuel. Shaul is. No, I'm sorry. Shmuel is. So, but the point is, it goes from singular to plural. It goes Vayelech, and then it says Vayeshvu. Yelech is singular, so Yeshvu is plural. So, what Mr. Arnstein is asking is, how would you say that in modern Hebrew? How would you have said that? Would you use to point out that there's a main character and a sub character? Would you use in modern Hebrew? Stylistically, would you say singular or would you go plural? So I'm guessing that they would say plural.
Well, there is another interesting. We're sitting here reading the book of Samuel, not the book of David.
Right?
It is named for Samuel, not David.
Right, so, and therefore,
So therefore, say something about
no. Therefore, how's it? Let's stick with this. Let's not go off topic. Okay. So, but that's what, like I said, that was what the answer would normally be.
Yeah, I
That
think the English translation here is following pretty much the Hebrew. It says, and he and Samuel.
Okay.
Instead of saying they went,
Right.
it says he and Samuel. I'm just trying to think, if you were actually just writing this for the first time, how would you have written that in English?
I would have said Shmuel and David went. Or they went. I wouldn't say he went and Shmuel.
If you didn't want to use the names, you would have used obviously they.
Not even if I want to use the names. He and Shmuel went. I would have said like that. I would have gone for the plural. Okay. That, just like I said when they dwelt. Yeah.
I know there's a figure of speech. I can't think of the name of it. But when you get into action, you keep repeating the same tense and the same person over and over again.
Okay.
And if we looked at that, David fled.
Right.
He saved himself. He came. He told.
And he went.
And then he went.
But then they dwelt.
But then you change the whole focus after all that happened.
Right.
You could understand another went, and Samuel went also, and they dwelt.
Okay.
But there's a figure of speech that, it gives a real dramatic impact when you have one person doing this and this and this and this and this, and then they dwelt in this town.
So I'm sure there is, but again, the question would still be, why? Even if you have the figure of speech, I'm agreeing with you, you could have one, but that sort of speech. But the question would be, why don't you? You can make a switch sooner or later, so you're going to switch. So at that point, he's finished running. It's when it says what he told them, all that Saul did to him, that's basically a semicolon in the sentence. Okay, so now it's a new thought. He's relaxed. Okay, it's a relaxing situation. So it should already be that they're both the main characters, not one is bringing the other. Right, that's my point. The Hebrews emphasizing he's the one who's causing this to happen.
Or there were separate actions of the two men, and then they ended up together.
Well, they're walking together, and so that would be
the English. We don't have the difference in the verbs.
No, that's what I'm saying. In English, you're not going together.
They went same thing.
Right. Okay.
And stayed
It's
dwelt.
just something from our grammar class that you just want things to agree.
Correct.
It sticks out to us. It's not the normal.
Correct. Now let's go on. You gather Shaul. It was told to Shaul Lamor, saying, "He need David ben Nayot." Oh, so apparently there's spies in the world, and he said David is in Nayot in Ramah, Barama in Ramah. The question, of course, is going to be who told him, and that nobody's going to tell you who. Just assume that it was told by one of his court, or somebody saw David in Nayot. He must have asked questions. I'm not sure if he has a warrant out for David's arrest or not. He could at this point, namely Shaul. It could be common knowledge that he's looking for David. Although again, they didn't have papers, there was no internet, there was no WhatsApp. So to get this information going, you have to be pretty good. Unless he has wanted posters all around the area, it seems that he doesn't. But he has somebody informed him, and it was told to him that David was in Nayot. Fine. Vayishlach Shaul malachim l'kalchet David. So once again, Shaul sends messengers to take David. Vayar at lahakat hanavim nib'im. Well, and he saw the I'm guessing it means group here. The kakat siyat group, a group of prophets prophesying. That's how they say it. A group of prophets prophesying. Okay, there you go. Okay. Ushmuel omeid nitza Ushmuel omeid nitza valeim, and Shmuel was standing stationed with them. Vatihi al malachi Shaul, and it was on the malachi on the messenger Shaul ruach Elokim, the spirit of Hashem, v'nabu gam hema. And so now these messengers of Shaul also had the ruach Elokim, the spirit of Hashem, and they also start to prophesy. Okay, great. So here, talk about being brought into a group prophecy. You have these guys are coming for David, and what happens is they run to a group that are prophets who are prophesying, and God puts His divine spirit onto them. So now they're prophesying.
In other words, they saw Shmuel and his group. They got some kind of a sublime message, I guess, somehow from that.
Right. So now let's go and say it's
like just one point on that.
Yeah.
That's a nifil there. If you had it in the hithil, it would be more the action. And so this has a sense of being inspired, not just making prophecies, but being inspired which gives it a deeper feeling.
Right.
These guards are sent there to kill him.
Right.
Or
collect him. Right.
And so they walk in, and they're captivated by this.
Correct. Yeah. So now the Malbim says in this. It's a nice long Malbim. Okay, and we should be able to finish it. Okay. So it says V'yar hakati neviim. He saw the group of they. That's also interesting. I didn't realize it at first. I'm going to do one more thing grammatically. Again, it says Vayishlach Shaul. Shaul sent Malachim, plural.
Are you in 20?
I'm 20. Yeah, I'm looking at the words of 20. Shaul sent Malachim. Again, the Kalcha de David, take David. Vayar, and he saw. Who's the he? Should be they. So you have to say, you'd have to argue that the Malachim are now a unit. Say it again?
Like the nation,
yeah, but Malachim is two, messengers. So now you have to say that these Malachim are now a unit. They're no longer individual, or they're one, a group. And that's why you have to say Vayar, he saw, because really it's he saw. It should have said Vayiru, and they saw. The messenger saw.
That's two pataks, right? Well, what's the little dot up there?
The note, the musical note. The Revi'i. It's Revi'i. Vayar. Okay. So, so he says, the Malbim says, Pirshki hilat hanavim kulam, that he wants to say they saw the congregation of all these prophets. Haim min hashirashim mahavchim kmo keves kesev mishmila shalom. Okay, fine. So these are the shrashim, that the roots that can be turned around, as the word keves or kesev, which should both be the same and similar shlema. Okay, fine. V'yeshevdu ben lahakat neviim ben chevel neviim. He says there's a difference between the word lahakat, a group of neviim, and chevel, another word which would mean group of neviim. So there's again a difference. Shehevel hu kitzat min hakihila v'chelik mehem, because chevel would indicate that it was a small amount of the congregation and a portion of them, while hakat would mean everybody. I'm guessing that's what he wants to say. Fine. And then Shmuel was standing amongst them. Mavora actually, it seems to me, he says, he is hevdel beloshen ben amida ben hityatzva, between standing and stationed. She'amida hu rak hefech hayeshiva, because standing is only the opposite of sitting. Or shchiva, or lying down, ve'alicha, or going. Aval hityatzva, but stationed, hu amida sheshicha koach v'chizuk. But when you use the word stationed, nitzav, that is a matter of standing that needs strength and reinforcement. The yot nishar al amdo, to remain there on his place. K'mo lifnei gadol, like before a big person. Lifnei bal rivo, before the person you're arguing with. And by the way, if you ever want to think about what this is, the stage is like attention. I remember when I was in Canada, it was in Canada. So I had to give some invocation for, I think, the Boy Scouts or something like that, some sort of scouting or army. I forget what it was.
It wasn't at a hockey game, huh?
No, it was at some sort of event. But I had to give an invocation, and they had to stand at attention. So while they were sitting at attention, they did when they would do a what is it, attention or at ease is not attention. There's always, maybe it was at ease. They had to stand with their hands behind their back and their feet a little. That's at ease. At ease, fine. They were at ease, good. And then I kept seeing people do deep knee bends. They would do deep knee bend and come back up. And I was like, and I asked them, what is going on here? He said, if you stand too long, that you can faint. So they have to move.
Especially if you hadn't eaten in a while.
Well, I don't know, but they said they had to move, so that would be.
How long were they standing there?
Oh, for the whole ceremony.
What time of day was it?
It was in the afternoon. I think it was the afternoon, and probably they had to stand there for about 45 minutes to an hour.
When I was in training camp, when I went in the Air Force, that's exactly what they told us.
Right, you have to do
Especially if you're out in the sun,
right.
So you do not skip breakfast because you will get lightheaded.
Right, so that's what's going on here. You need strength to stand to be nitzav.
Are you still in 20?
Yes, I'm just going through an explanation of what the words are.
So yet, but the word they use here is erect. When you're talking
That's nitzav. Stationed, erect. Yeah. Good. That's what we're looking at. So it says that the differences of erect, how they translate there, is because you're standing there with koach, has to be with strength and reinforcement, because you have to remain on your feet. You have to remain there, gadol, like when you stand before a great person, or if you stand before somebody you're arguing with. Gam Kain al hamamona mashgiach al davar. This is also used for a person who's appointed and supervising over the matter. K'mol denaro hanitzav al hakotzrim, like the person who is standing over the reapers, the ones who are reaping. You have to be attentive.
So translate nitzav.
He said erect. So how does he say?
Standing as head over them.
Head over them, erect. The point is you're a leader. So it wasn't all this time. It was, behold, all the Nevi'im in the time that the prophecy was on them. Naflo panehem, they would normally fall on their faces. Vevareim memotetim merov hacharada, and their limbs would shake because of the amount of trepidation. Levad Shmuel, with the exception of Shmuel. Shmuel is the only one who didn't do that, didn't fall. Hayagadol because he was great in 2 minutes. Okay, again, when normally somebody would experience the prophetic, they would have a prophetic experience, they would fall on the ground in nearly an epileptic fit. Okay, that's how we would define it, epileptic fit. Only Shmuel, who has been doing this since he was, 5-6 years old, he's been experiencing God. He was whatever it was. So he, even if you want to say by 13, he was trained by Eli, and so he knows what's going on. He has that stature where he's different from everybody. Omed alamdov nofel upanav. So he stands erect and he doesn't fall on his face. And also nitzav aleim, he stood over them. Umashpia aleim shefa navua, and through him the spirit of Hashem would descend on the others. Hu hayam makor shemenu shavu. He was the main source, and from him they would all draw out the energy of prophecy. He's really going flowery here. He would be the candle from whom the other souls would be lit. Bor ha'elokei ha'gadol, from the light of the great God. Ve'ashev ha'gadol ha'zot shetiat shalema bein mitzad hamashpia shu omed k'nichtalev. And that great influence would be complete from the side that the influencer the one who's causing the influence to go, would stand erect. And so it says, Beim Mitzana Makablim, Shayach Lahakat and Nevi'im, and whether it's from the side of the ones who are receiving it, namely the ones who are in the group of the prophets, Kumush Lefi Rov HaKahal, as opposed to the rest of the congregation, Elokim Hit Rabeh Kedusha Ha'ara, fine. Whether it's from the outside or from the side of the Kesher Ben HaMashpia, Makablim, or in other words, so you're saying whether it's from the side of the ones who are receiving it as opposed to the rest of the people who are there, or whether it's from the side of the influencer and the ones who are being influenced. So Nitzav Aleim, he stood over them. Umamshik min makor el palagav, so it would be taken from the source to the others. Ayedekain hudlaku gam. So through that, through all this spiritual energy is going through, the messengers of Saul were also, their candle, their spiritual candle was also lit.
It transferred.
Right, so transferred. So they also have prophecy. Madrega Katana, but Malbim has to say, in a small level. It wasn't like everybody else. Because in order to be a prophet, we learned a long time ago, you had to go to school. You had to train yourself. There was school of prophecy. It wasn't just simply you get prophecy. You had to you have to train yourself to be ready. You have to know what's going on. Because otherwise you think you're going. Prophets. the prophets, the known prophets.
Sooner or later, there weren't any. Who was
No. So in these
who
days,
was their first headmaster at that school?
I can't answer
Who would
that.
have been qualified to be the very
Let's
first?
start with Moshe
Probably was,
Rabbeinu, right?
it could have been Moshe, but all the way through. I mean, you have people. You never lose a prophecy until you lose it. In other words, it was always there.
Where,
Well, again, Moshe would have known what prophecy was. Aaron, Miriam had prophecy. You had Aaron, Avram had prophecy. So from Avram down, we have prophecy. And before Avram, you had prophecy. There was always people who could tune into God. And again, I'll say this one more time for the YouTube audience that loves to hear me say this. We all have the ability to have prophecy, but we tune it out. Because if we would tune it in, we would think we're nuts.
And either we or other people would think we were nuts.
Yeah.
I think we would think we're nuts before the other people.
I'd love to ask you this, but I don't think we have time to answer. Well, the very last word of this verse 20 here is they prophesied.
Right.
If you see a group of people prophesying, what are they doing? What are they doing? Are they meditating? What are they doing?
Yes, most of prophecy is meditation.
Are they dancing or?
No, they're falling on the ground. They fell on the ground.
Already done that.
They fell on the ground. Yeah, they're not
Except for Shmuel, right?
except for Shmuel, but they have all fallen on the ground. But they're all going into. By the way, the reason you're having these epileptic, again, what we define as epileptic fits, is because the divine presence is coming over you, and you lose control of yourself and you want willingly give up control of
It's
yourself.
almost like a whirling dervish. It's like,
The holy rollers is...
Right? But you're willingly giving yourself over to God. And so at that case, in that situation, you no longer think of it. It would be like, by the way, people love to sing in the shower. Why? Because nobody's there. So they could either be, as my mother would say, caterwauling, or they could have a nice voice. You never know. But because they're always in their privacy. There was one young lady who was trying to teach guys how to dance, and she always said to them, "Act like nobody's watching you." If you act like nobody's watching you, you will feel the rhythm and you will be able to do it. If you're trying to impress Yedi Mensch, the girl over there, you're not going to do well. You're going to be stiff. So you have to act as if nobody's in the room with you. And it's very hard to do that, obviously.
Public speaking is like that.
Public speaking.
They say when you become if you sing, standing up and being the chazan, you got to get used to that.
Right.
You know?
And they say that when you want to speak, you have to see everybody as bubbleheads. You make someone nobody's really there. You have to speak because then you're going to be natural.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many people actually use those methodologies, but that's really what's going on. If I allow myself to go free. So then I'm not going to worry about how I look to the other person. Okay? Which is why when you see some people pray, they'll throw their hands up. I'm talking about Orthodox Jews. I'm not talking about the holy rollers, as you call them. But they're shaking their fist to God. It's like,
what is the difference between holy rollers and our Hasidim? They are the same.
No, when we say holy rollers in the Christian world, you're saying...
They fall on the ground and roll around?
Yeah, we don't do that. We don't do that.
Don't do what?
We don't fall on the ground and roll around.
No.
But to be overcome with that kind of fervency is what we're talking about, regardless of what's
Right. So but again, I don't think anybody lets himself go that much. Certainly not publicly. Okay. Yeah, so let's just continue so I can finish this off. So Nitzav Aleim Umamshich Menakos. So again, it is taken from when he said he was standing over them. So they drew from the source. And to different parts, Al Yedei Cain, who look. Oh, I said that. Okay, that's how the the messengers of Saul became prophesizing. Although he says again, with a small amount, this wasn't a major thing. She said, "Geder mitna be'vin tapel." Fine, it was only a small. Al Yedei Cain, and because of this, lo panu od el sarat Shaul l'kachel David, and because they had prophecy, they no longer listened to the warnings of Shaul to take David. This was God's way of stopping the guards from getting David. He let them have the prophecy. So now, what does prophecy really do? It allows you to see the truth. This is what I want. I, God, want. So I'm going to give you that bit of prophecy. Once you know what God wants, you're not going to fight him for the, you're not going to listen to your earthly king. That's a waste of time. Because the heavenly king is telling you just the opposite. And really, Saul is also subservient to the heavenly king. It's like a famous, well, I'll stop here. It's like one famous halacha is if the father, in a marriage, okay, you have a father, mother, kids, right? So the father says something to the children, and the mother contradicts. Who do you listen to? Halachically, who do you listen to?
It depends.
No, halachically, according to Jewish law. Father. Why?
He's the head of the household.
And the wife is also subservient to him. In that relationship, because he's paying for everybody, you can argue today all you want with who's paying the bills, but in that relationship, the father's paying the bills. He acquired certain rights of hers, so she is subservient to him, and the kids are. So in that situation, I'm required to listen to my father, because they're both that way. The same thing would be if your father versus your husband says something. Now who do you listen to? Again, your father versus your husband. Who do you listen to?
It's got to be
your husband.
Yeah.
Because again, he's the most immediate one to have that relationship. So
you left your father's house.
Right. So now you're subservient.
On top of which at the wedding, symbolically, he gave her away.
It's not symbolically. He gave her away.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
it. You've bought her lock, stock, and barrel.
Yeah.
You have her. So now I'm no longer responsible. You are, as a result of that, again, subservient. I'll even give you one more. You, the parent, tells the child to do something which is against halakha. Who do you listen to? The Torah, where it says don't do it, or your parent who says do it?
The Torah.
The Torah. Why? Because all of you are subservient to God. You understand? So it's all a matter of who am I subservient to? Who do I have to listen to?
Taught when we learn to drive, and I don't know how this translates in Israel, that if you have a policeman standing there purposely directing you against a red light,
no, that's something else. No, that's because the law allows for that.
Yeah.
That's because of the law. But that's the point, though. The law supersedes that. You have a light that normally would say stop. The cop's going, let's go. No, so the cop has the ability to overrule that light. That's again the law. That's what I'm saying. Who do I have to listen to? Do I say to the cop, no, I'm sorry, it's red? You look at me, you crazy? You go. So that's the same thing with God. God says, keep Shabbos. My father says, get in the car now on Shabbos. I can't listen to my father. I love my father. I have to listen. He'll say, when it says, keep it off aim. You have to respect your father. You have to honor your father. Get in the car. And I said, yeah, but it also said you have to fear God. Yeah, and that's all of us.
The father also has to fear his father.
Right, no, but which is God.
Yeah.
Right, so that's the point. That's why if you have parents tell you to break Jewish law, you can't listen to them because we're all subservient to God. The word subservient is not...
Are we learning that an order is not an order?
The hierarchy of order is the order. Right, so that's the point, the hierarchy. So it's really, the word is meshubad. And really meshubad, if you want to call that subservient, whatever you want to call that, because I know that people are going to get upset when I said subservient. But it's really, there's a pecking order of who I have to listen to. And I have to follow that if when there's an argument in orders. I have to follow the pecking order. If everybody agrees, by the way, in my house, it's a very simple rule. Whatever Ima says, if Ima says yes, Abba says yes. If Ima says no, Abba says no. If Abba says yes, Ima says yes. If Abba says no, Ima says no. So my kids learn that from very early on.
Oh,
whoever said no. Yeah. So my daughter asked a question. My daughter asked a question recently, just yesterday at the table. I won't say the question, but she asked a question. And my wife was sitting right there. So I said in front of my daughter, I said in front of my wife, so what did Ima say? She said, I don't want, no, I'm asking you. I said, no. What's the rule? What's the rule? What did Eva say? Tell me what she said, or you asked it. Well, she said no. I said, okay, so now you have the answer. Leave me alone.
You don't overrule each other.
Don't split the parents.
You don't split.
Yeah.
And then afterwards,
So
you can always have discussions between yourselves, but not in front of the kids. The rule has to be the rule. Yep. But again, that's because you want to have that hierarchy. You want to have that respect. You want to teach the kids there is a wall here. I always tell the kids, there's a stone wall. You're going to hit it. Try not to. Try not to. We'll stop.
Okay.
There's a really powerful line here.